Guys, we're back for another exciting episode of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play, and I say this every week because I usually am. I am pumped for tonight's guest for a couple of reasons. One, because I know this guy personally. I've been following him online for a long time. But two, we had a lightning storm here in Southwest Florida this week, and I'm just glad that he's still with us because we had lightning strike about a foot in front of him, and I've never seen someone jump so high. I was inside, but he was standing outside by our valet, but that we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we have Bernard Sheridan with us tonight, and it's so funny. Like, I have to admit this, total transparency. I accepted this job to come down to Naples. I'd followed this guy for a long time. He's very active in the Google Plus golf community, and I've been following him for a long time. And I got to the point where I was not going to take the opportunity in the Middle East, go to Europe, come back. I'm here. I see this opportunity at Tiburón Golf Club. I know nothing about it. I know nothing about Naples, and I raise my hand. 6-7 weeks later, I accept the position, and I get down here, and I still never realized that Bernard is not only in Naples, he's at Tiburón with Impact Zone Golf, Bobby Clampett's golf academy down here. So just a lot of cool, fun, small world the golf world is. But Bernard is a very well-rounded individual. He and I have talked about anything from Tiger to golf mental side of things, trying to fix my Aaron's tee shots to the podcast that he runs. And I find this episode just so interesting because I do a podcast, yes, because the show is now available on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play as a part of the Golf Radio Network. But this guy does a podcast called Breaking Par, and I almost broke par at Audubon Country Club a couple of weeks ago, but I made a double on the last hole. I don't want to talk about it. But this guy is a very well-rounded individual. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about Impact Zone. We're going to talk about his guests that he's had in his show. I respect the heck out of what he does. So, Bernard, welcome to the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play.
It's great to be here. So I just had to dial my mic down there for a second. But no, it's awesome. And I mean, we've talked before on your other Friday foursome. Back in the day, and now we're both working out of the same club, which I never thought would happen. I mean, you were in Arizona, I was in Pennsylvania. We both ended up relocating to Florida, and now we both work at the same club, and it's really just some pretty cool stuff.
You know, I can't. That's been so long ago since the Friday foursome stuff, and I need to one day, like Dave Ramsey. We were talking about him before we went live. Dave Ramsey's in his 25th year, and he he looks back at prior years and the start of his show. I'm nowhere near 25 years by any means. This is only season 2 of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play, and I had done the Friday foursome for 3 years. So one day we'll be able to look back upon that. But that's cool that's all happened and that we both have relocated not only to the same state but to the same city and the same club. And this is my first club experience, so I like to say in the field, and it's the first time I've been in the field. And could I have picked a better property? I mean, 36 holes of golf, the Bobby Clampett Impact Zone Golf Academy, and just everything about it is just incredible. So
it's an awesome facility, and it's no wonder that they have that Greg Norman has the Shark Shootout there. I mean, and then the CME too. So, I mean, it's just an awesome facility. I mean, how many times do you have the opportunity to be at a facility where there is a PGA event and an LPGA event every year?
I've thought about it, and I don't know if I can tell you another property off the top of my head, definitely, of where has both. And I don't know if you know this, but about 3 months ago, the PGA Tour champions came to us at Tiburón and said, we want to bring the Chubb Classic here. And it doesn't make sense because of how close those 3 events are because of the displacement of our members for so long during their season.
Yeah.
But to think that 3 different tours want to have a home in Southwest Florida at Tiburón. And what's so impressive to me is that the LPGA is here at the end of November. We break for Thanksgiving, and then the PGA Tour is here. It's nonstop. I mean, it's like one after another, but those tours are so well run that you don't even really do much. Like the tours, like Jeff Cathy, our director of agronomy, does such a good job with the course conditions. They just kind of show up, play an awesome facility, and leave. So that all being said, though, tonight I want to focus on you and what you're doing with your podcast. So Eat Sleep Golf is a presenting sponsor of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play. They always send in a bunch of good questions, and just right off the bat, Where did your podcast get started? How long have you been doing it? Kind of give us the elevator pitch of what your podcast is all about.
Well, I started the podcast about 3 years ago. And the whole reason why I started the podcast was basically I had students in Pennsylvania, and those students, I wanted to be able to give them tips, and not just through YouTube, but a show where I could cover a topic every week, and then they could go back and listen to this, and I could say, hey, you know what? In episode 5, I cover all this information, and it would be a great idea to listen to that. And so that's how it started, kind of just as a thing for my students. And I wasn't, like a lot of people said, well, when you started the podcast, weren't you worried about how you sounded or what you did? And I thought, you know what? Nobody's listening anyway. I mean, when you first start, nobody knows who the heck you are. And so I would just pick a different topic every week. So I did that for 40 weeks. And at the end of 40 weeks, I started to run out of topics. I thought, like, you know, and it's not that easy to talk to a microphone for a half an hour straight, and there's nobody on the other end. So you're basically just chattering along there, and you know, I'll admit that I talk a lot. I'm never short for words, but essentially I started to run out of ideas. So I said, you know what? I need to get other pros on here, and so that we can convey their ideas to people. So luckily, I'm a member of a lot of Facebook things, a lot of different groups. I'm a member of the Google Plus Golf community, which you have got that going, and I'm a member of some stuff out. You know, I know people out on Twitter, and so I'm pretty active in social media. So I put out a little post, and it said, hey, you know, starting to take guest interviews on Breaking Par with Bernard Sheridan. If you're interested, please either reply to this message or IM me directly. Within 15 minutes, I got 10 people who wanted to be on the show.
That's awesome.
So I was like, this is great. So the first guy who was on the show was Mike Fay. And now Mike has his own podcast, and it's just great to see that, you know, other people are doing it, it's not the exact format, but it's about golf, and anything that's about golf to me, that's either in a podcast or video form or whatever it may be, it's going to help grow the game. It's going to keep people interested. And that's really how it all started.
That's awesome. And I have to applaud just your efforts for the continued, like I was asked not that long ago, why do you keep doing this? Like, you do it every week, and you know, you're not getting paid for it. And it's not about that. I'm not doing it because I get paid. I do it because it's a half an hour, sometimes more an hour, to be able to talk to people in the golf space, people that I've never met before, people that I've become friends with on Twitter that have come to this. And what's funny that I tie this into the recent announcement of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play going to iTunes and Google Play via podcast format. It's also on Stitcher and SoundCloud, you name it. And I had a little bit of an obsession with Private Club Radio, which is Gabriel Aloisi's Private Club Radio, is his podcast where he focuses solely on private club space. Well, he and I became friends on Twitter. I moved to Florida. He lives in Tampa. We finally got together. He came down. We played Tiburón. We're on the back nine. He's interviewing me for his podcast. He tees up the idea of the Golf Radio Network and asked me if I would like to have the hashtag Wednesday Match Play as the first show on his channel. And I was like, absolutely. And I had no idea what that meant, but it's one of the steps along this journey that I have no idea where it's going to go. And the same with you, that we're doing this because golf is the greatest game ever played, and I have to figure out a way to keep my finger on the pulse. And you know, if Tiger wants to come on the show one day, that's fine. But at the same time, I'll take a guy that's starting out as an assistant pro at a club that's 22 years old and just got his PGA tour, or got his PGA credentials. Like, I just love learning about people in this game and in this sport. So over the years, you've had a lot of really good and really big guests on your show. Who have been some of the most memorable guests that you've had the opportunity to interview?
Dr. Sasho McKenzie, a biomechanics guy, a great guest. David Ledbetter. I was fortunate enough to interview David when Lydia Ko became #1 in the world. I had the first interview. And that was just by chance that happened. I ran into David at the PGA show. I told him I had a podcast. He was very gracious, very kind person. Said, "Here's my secretary." Immediately talked to her. She'll set up the date. So there wasn't like, "Oh yeah, right, nice to meet you" type thing. I mean, he was a great guy. And a lot of normal club pros that have been absolutely fantastic guests. I mean, Brian Jacobs and Alan Burton, and I mean, there's so many of them that I've had on, and it's always really enjoyable. Ian Clark I had on from the UK. Now I'm starting to get a lot of guys from the UK now, and all of a sudden I'm getting a following in the UK now, and I just actually got approached by a new social website in the UK, and now I'm blogging for them, and they're posting all my podcasts, and they're happy as heck to have me. So and I'm happy as heck to be there. So it's it's just spread the word wherever we can around the planet about this great game, and just have fun with it.
That's so cool. So in addition to the podcast, though, that keeps you busy, but you also are involved with Impact Zone Golf. Bobby Clampett, a former PGA Tour winner, has his golf academy here in Naples at Tiburón. What's your role with that? I mean, I feel like you're at Tiburón as much as I am because every time I'm there, I see you. So what's your role with Impact Zone, and how, I guess, kind of a two-part question, how did you get into that role, and what is your role with Impact Zone?
Sure. So I kind of twisted his arm. No, I'm only kidding. Almost. So many years ago, I was writing a book, and I was also studying other books. And in these other books that I was studying, one of them was the Impact Zone Golf, and it was called The Impact Zone. It was by Bobby Clampett. So I'm writing this book, and I realized that this book is almost identical to the book I'm writing. And so I said to myself, well, I can't write this book anymore because it's already been written, and it's actually been written a lot better than I could write it. It was a lot more in depth, but a lot of the same things that Impact Zone teaches, I was teaching, and I was working on with my students. So I decided that I was going to find out more about Bobby Clampett and see if I could get in touch with him and just kind of pick his brain. So when I did that, I found out that they had a certification program, and I was able to do that certification program online. So because of that, I did the program, and I became an Impact certified instructor. So I then again began to promote that on my website and to my clients that I was an Impact Zone based teacher. And a few years after that, I want to say about 3 or 4 years later, Bobby got in touch with me, and he said, I'm going to the next level with the instructors, and I'd like to know if you would be interested in moving up to the next level. And the way that you can do that is to come down here to Naples, and I'm doing a golf school. I want you to shadow me in the golf school, and then take your test. And if you pass it, then you're an advanced instructor. Great. So I decided I'm going to do that. So I came down, and we were at Gateway, actually. And this was before Bobby worked things out with Tiburón. And the academy was actually not even operating at that time. Bobby was like a traveling road show and did golf schools all over the country. And that's pretty much what he did. And he didn't have a home base yet. So he said to me, Bern, I'm thinking about retiring from the Champions Tour. And I'm going to build an academy full time, and I'm going to dive into it full time. And this was in 2015. And he said, there's going to be a lot of opportunities here. And if you're interested, well, that's all he had to say, was if I was interested, because I've been wanting to move to Naples for 20 years. And so I took him up on it and I held him to it, basically. So maybe, I don't know whether he's sorry that he said that to me or not. But I'm a staff instructor here. I'm at Tiburón very often, probably more than the indoor facility that we have, which is the world headquarters. I started there, and now I'm back and forth, and I'm pretty much wherever they need me.
That's awesome. Well, I've actually not even been to the world headquarters yet, and it's not far from Tiburon, so I need to find an excuse on my lunch break one of these days to run over there and just see what the heck it looks like.
It's very cool. It's very cool.
2 courses at Tiburon, gold and black. Gold
Yeah.
was recently remastered, and I don't know what it was before, because I actually saw the first round of the CME. Their practice round was the first ball marks that hit those greens, so I've only seen it brand new. The black is being remastered, and the things that we're doing to it right now are just ridiculous, like the rock wall and moving greens and lowering bunkers, like some pretty cool stuff. So before the renovations on the black course, between the gold and the black, which do you prefer and why?
That's a great question. I prefer the gold course, and I think that the gold course it's just as I mean, they're both very challenging golf courses.
My index can prove that. I've gone up from a 2.3 to I'm a 6.9 as of end of day last Friday. So yeah, they're challenging golf courses.
Yeah, they're very challenging, and but I'll tell you, I think why they're so challenging is because there's no rough. I mean, it's when there's no rough, and you miss the green by a little bit, you miss the green by a lot, because it just keeps going. It just rolls out, and it's either in a waste area or it's in a pond, or not a pond, a lake, because there's really no ponds here. They're all lakes, and it's just really, really challenging. But I just like the feel of the gold course better for my eye. It just lays out better for my eye. I can't really explain why that is, but I just feel like the shot selections that are on the gold course, I have a little bit easier time with than I do on the black.
Without the second hole on the black course, which has a landing area of about 3 yards, like it's just trees for 420 yards. But I think I prefer the black. The black, in my opinion, is harder. But the gold, the front nine of the gold is just I don't want to say the word repetitive because it's not, but the back nine on gold is the best 9-hole layout there. But overall, black. But what's cool about it is they're both so different. Now, you mentioned the no rough. There is no conventional rough at Tiburon yet. You may not know this, and this might be breaking news. Norman has agreed to put rough on the black course as a part of this renovation. So You're going to see a little bit of rough on the black course. Reopens on November 1st. So I'm excited to see where and how much of it. And I'm not sure it's going to be like, it's not going to be Aaron Hill's rough like Kevin Na complaining about. And I mean, I'm so sick of hearing those guys that are upset about it. Like, get over it. You're all playing the same golf course.
Well, Rory, you know what Rory's was.
Love
I mean,
Rory's
you know, yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, we have a 60-yard wide fairway, and if you can't hit that, then what the heck are you doing here? I mean, you might as well just pack up your bags and go home.
He made another good point today that he said that, or somebody said, maybe not Rory, but somebody said that the second you start complaining about the rough or the fescue, it's not even rough, really. Like, they have fairway rough and then fescue. He said the second you start complaining is you're going home on Friday. So pack it up. So now the guests are so good on your show. How do you decide, besides just posting a tweet and getting people to say, hey, I want to be on your show, how do you pick guests for future shows?
That's another good question. You know, there's certain people that I pay attention to, either on mostly in social media, and I really watch what they say, watch what they do, and I find that if they pique my interest, if I think that they're going to be a good guest, then I ask them. Very often they agree. There's very few guests that I've had that I've asked that said, no, I don't want to be on. Most of them say they're honored to be on, which is really nice. And that's really appreciated, because To me, it's if there's a way that I can bring those people in the forefront and shine a light on them, so that the golfing world knows that they exist. And I think too that what makes great instructors is their personality and the way that they communicate. So if they're good communicators, which we see in social media, then they're pretty much probably going to be pretty good golf instructors too.
Absolutely. And I can't tell you that I've had a lot of golf lessons, and I need to reconsider that, because the comments that you had, it wasn't that long ago. You were standing at the bottom of the stairs and you said some things that I think about, just like the breathing exercise. And I do that. I literally do that every time I get ready to take a golf swing. I step back, put myself in a little box, and breathe. And it's one tip that's not even as a part of a lesson that is going to make that big of an impact on somebody's game. That, who knows, since you and I was this close to quitting the game. You remember me, that wasn't that long ago. And since I've gone from an 8.9 back to a 6.9, and I shot 73 to the last round I played, I shot 73, 1 under on the 18th tee. So, I mean, something's fit, something's flipped in my swing somewhere. So, LPGA Tours at Tiburón every November, PGA Tours at Tiburón every December. Do you work with any tour players either ongoing or while they're in town? Kind of what's that look like when those golfers are here?
Well, what we do when the tour is here is we'll go out there and kind of hang out at the range. And I personally, nobody on our team personally works with any of the tour pros. I know quite a few guys who do, but pretty much what we do is when they're on the range, we'll get them on TrackMan. We'll offer that stuff to them if they want to, look at some numbers. We'll get some video of them. We'll use that video discreetly. We don't release that video, but we will use it to show students so that they can see what some of these great players are doing. And that's about the extent of it. I mean, we try to be very careful about. I mean, that's an important thing, and there's a lot of coaches out there too, and we don't want to step on anybody's toes. And so we do it very discreetly, and we also make sure that the player wants to do that, and we're there in that capacity.
So you are extremely active on social media. There's no question. You talked about how Twitter has basically been the foundation of the guests that come to your show. What is your favorite social network? Because you're on a few. You mentioned Google Plus and the golf community. Props to that. The head golf professional, is that your title in the golf community? I mean, we didn't really do much with that. Like, it was just an idea that you were the only person that raised your hand and said you wanted to be on staff with the golf community.
Yeah, I like to be on staff of everything. I mean, I never. It's probably one of my biggest problems is I can't say no to a lot of things. I mean, it's but I like to do it, so I enjoy it.
Out of all of the social networks, which ones have been the most successful for you? Besides, I mean, obviously Twitter's got to be on that list. And which ones do you enjoy posting to and using the most?
I really there's 4 social networks that I post to. Actually, let me think about this. There's of course Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. So there's 5 that I post, and every time I post to all 5. I do all the Facebook posts for Impact Zone Golf. So that's kind of like one of my duties.
You do a really good job with that stuff too. So
thank you very much. I appreciate that. But I can't say that there's just one that's my favorite, because I get feedback from all different ones. And I think that they all work,
right? I mean,
it's different kind of
feedback is not a Facebook feedback. Yeah,
exactly. It's different types of feedback. I mean, the stuff that I get like in the golf community on Google Plus is completely different audience than what I get on Facebook. So to me, that's really nice. And now it's Twitter is all of a sudden starting to take off for me, and I'm getting. So a lot of my outreach on Twitter is more across the pond in the UK, in Ireland, in Belgium, Germany, and so I mean, they all have their own little special place in my heart.
That's awesome. And I will back you up with that 100%, that I just love social media, and there's no question it works. And without social media, the golf community on Google Plus wouldn't exist. A thing that I started in 2012, have not made a penny off of it and couldn't care less, because there's 26,000 and growing every day members in there, you being one of them, that post good quality content. Every single post that is posted, I get an email notification, and I sift through every single thing to ensure that the quality of the content remains what it should be. I get rid of spam. We've had guests on this show that post stuff on a not regular basis, but have posted things that are very salesy and very spam
Yeah.
content, and I remove it. And it's because the quality of the content is the focus for me of, and I don't post a lot there. I just like to be kind of sit back and monitor what's being posted in the conversations that are happening. So now, golf course. You said the golf course was your favorite. What's your favorite hole? Because I've got a couple of favorites. Mine are all on the back nine, though. But what's your favorite hole in the golf course at Tiburón?
I want to say probably the 11th hole is just a really cool hole. I just really like the way it's laid out, and I have to say,
driver on 11.
Yeah,
I do too. I probably shouldn't. It's not long enough to justify it, because there's trouble right. There's a lot of trouble left.
Well, I know for me, when I see more trouble, it's better. And I know that sounds kind of like crazy, but when things are narrower for me, I have a better time focusing on what I need to do. When things are wide open, I can't find a target for some reason, and I'm usually not down the middle. But the narrower it is, the better, which you would think that I would like black better. But there's just something about gold that it's just a layout that fits my eye, fits my shot shapes.
So I played with, we play most Thursday evenings. We play after work as a team. So feel free to join us anytime you want to play on a Thursday. A couple of weeks ago on that very hole, I'm pretty sure our general manager both hit it left of the road. He hit it so far left, and hit it so far right, it might be on the other side of the Ritz-Carlton. So to give you an idea of how far but what was funny though, because I was like first off the tee, and I hit it right down the middle. Granted, I had we play the tips, and I had 220 to the pin, but he went this way, and then he went this way, and then he just dropped in the middle of the fairway. So now yesterday, you were almost struck by lightning, and I'm not joking when I say that.
No, you're right. I was.
It literally scared me, and I was 100 yards away from you inside the clubhouse. So what the heck happened? And there were two of you standing out there just talking, and I turn around, I see it, I see the lightning hit. I feel like it struck right in front of literally in front of you. So I mean, talk about that moment yesterday.
It wasn't quite in front of me, but it so right as you're entering the clubhouse where the valet station is, there's an undercover area where the cars pull in, and just on the other side of that, there's a big circle that has the shark on it, and which is really awesome looking, and it struck right on the other side of that awning.
That's still pretty close, man.
So it was probably about, I want to say, maybe 20 feet from us. And I could feel the electricity push my body back. And that's, I mean, and the sound, of course, was enough to make you jump. But the two of them, between that and the electricity, I jumped, and then it kind of forced my body back in towards the clubhouse. I don't know whether you could tell that or not, but
yeah, 100%.
And I was really, the two of us looked at each other and just went like, what the? I've never been that close to lightning. Now, there's only been one other time that I was that close to lightning, and it was probably a little bit further, probably about 35, 40 feet. And I was in my backyard grilling, and it was for my daughter's birthday, and a rainstorm hit, and I had to cook all these burgers and stuff. And I was out there with my brother-in-law, and lightning went whoosh We're like right in between the two houses, and we looked at each other and we went, "We're going in." And we quick grabbed all the burgers, we took them in, and then we finished them on the stove.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad it didn't hit
chef.
you because it was very close. Yesterday's storm was. I was talking to our GM today, and he said that we've had over 20 inches of rain this month.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea, in Phoenix, where I come from, we get about 6 to 7 inches a year. So imagine the difference and how miserable I am with the weather outside.
Probably got 4 inches alone yesterday.
We got last Tuesday, we got over 8 inches. We got over 5 yesterday. It was like 5.3, I think, yesterday. So It was just bananas. Now, I didn't tell you before we went live, this half an hour would fly by. We're already over time, but I could talk to you all night long. So one more question before we jump to your back nine. You and Impact Zone Golf do a lot of work with junior golfers. Like I see Tom O'Brien out there all the time.
Yep.
With 4 or 5 kids in a cart, and I saw just a couple of days ago there was like 15 juniors putting on the putting green. What are you and Impact Zone doing to help grow the game of golf?
Well, right now, Impact Zone is running all the U.S. kids golf tournaments in the Naples area. And Tom O'Brien is in charge of all that. He heads that up. He's tireless. He works his tail off to secure the golf courses, go to the golf courses, lay everything out. He really, Tom heads up our junior program. He does an incredible job. And on top of which, he's just a fantastic instructor. I mean, he's just really a talented guy.
That's awesome. Well, Troon is, I don't know how familiar you are with Troon Junior Club and the things that Troon is doing to grow the game of golf. And that's one of the cool things and when the Troon Junior Club was founded, I was literally in the meeting when we're sitting there talking, hey, we need a junior program, and just how we founded that. Like we never had that before, and now we do, and it's growing, and there's hundreds of members of that program worldwide. Hannah O'Sullivan, who is probably going to be one of the better LPGA Tour players in the near future, was a member, and I actually remember talking to her at Whirlwind Golf Club. She had her birthday, and she was no longer a junior, and she was mad because she had to no longer be a member. She's like, I'm still wearing the hat, so deal with it. So it's cool to have that kind of support. So, but Bernard, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. This is awesome. You and I see each other at Tiburón all the time, and we talk, but never in this one-on-one capacity as much. But before I let you go, we have to do this thing called the back nine. Now let's take a step back from your podcast and Impact Zone and Tiburón. Just 9 fun, random golf questions. You ready for your back nine?
Sure.
Do you listen to music when you play golf?
I like to. I don't always, but I do enjoy doing that. And I think that there should be music on the golf course.
Okay, what style? Because if you and I are playing together.
So I think it would be good if it was like in the cart. So in other words, you could have speakers in the cart with a Bluetooth, hook up your phone, and then play whatever you want, and I think that would be really pretty cool. It would sure help your tempo, right?
Yes, it would. Now, but I listen to electronic dance music, and Corey Schaub listens to country. So when he and I play together, it's a little weird because I'm listening to beats and he's listening to country. What golf ball are you currently playing?
Titleist Pro V.
The regular Pro V or the X?
Regular, yeah, I'm a regular Pro V guy.
I am too. The X just doesn't spin as much around the greens as what I need it to.
Yeah.
What's your favorite golf movie? And if you say Bagger Vance, we're done.
No, it's not. It's not Bagger Vance. I gotta say Caddyshack. I just think that Caddyshack is just. I mean, I love Bill Murray, and it's just a crazy movie. It's just really funny.
Yeah, that's a good one. Now, if you say 150 yards, you're wrong. But how far do you hit your 7-iron?
How far do I hit my 7-iron? I guess it depends on what the day is and what the wind is doing. But anywhere from 145 to 170.
Okay.
Depending on the day and the wind. Now on average about 160.
Who is your favorite LPGA Tour player?
Paula Creamer.
Now I should ask you why, but I'm going to.
I just think that she's gorgeous.
Thank you for being completely honest.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. I mean, she's a great player too. I mean, she's just she's the whole package.
What's
If
your
I was a
favorite?
little bit younger man, I might actually pursue that, but I'm a little bit too old for her.
What is your favorite beach in Southwest Florida?
Well, I love Bowman's Beach.
I don't even know what that is.
So Bowman's Beach is Sanibel,
Okay.
and it's really nice. It's a very nice beach, and and the water is always gorgeous, and I like Sanibel a lot.
I've not been to Sanibel. I've pretty much only done like Bonita Beach and a couple of like in Naples Beach, like by the pier.
Yeah, you have to go to Sanibel and you have to go to Captiva. Captiva again too is very there's not a lot going on. It's real quiet. The water's calm. It's beautiful. It's really nice.
Sold. So besides Tiburon, and I've only played a couple, I'm starting to expand that list. I'm playing Panther Run soon. I'm playing the Hideout next week. Besides Tiburon, what is your favorite course in Naples?
Mm. I'm going to say Old Corkscrew.
I've heard that's like the hardest course like
It's
ever.
really hard. It's really, really hard. But it's and that's why I like it, I guess. I mean, I'm one of those guys that the tougher it is, the more I like it.
Okay, I played Twin Eagles, the Eagle, and that course was silly hard. Is it harder than that course?
It has its moments. It definitely does. I mean, it's funny. We did a U.S. Kids event there not that long ago, and the guy and Tom is telling me that one of the starter guys or the Rangers come down. And he says, you really got to get these kids moving. And he goes, this course is way too hard to get these kids moving. It's impossible. But they want us to come back all the time, and it is. It's a very difficult course, and it's really cool. It's a really cool layout.
If I ever get the opportunity to play there, you have to come with me because you obviously have played there and you know where to hit it and where not to hit it. So you'll be my caddy.
I've only played there once, so I kind of know where to hit it.
You know more than I do.
Well, that's true.
You may or may not know how big of a Tiger fan I am. He's above me. He's all around me.
Oh, I know that.
My car is red and black because he wears red on Sunday when he plays. Be very careful how you answer this, and do not take any of the recent things into consideration.
No.
Do you think he breaks Jack's record? Why or why not?
I think he will not. I want to say that when it started, I really wish that he did. Not because I like Tiger better than Jack but I wanted to be able to witness. And I have been able to witness the two greatest golfers that ever played the game in my lifetime, which I think is very special. It's very special. But the reason why I don't think that Tiger will break it is because of many health issues that that's happening to him, and just a lot of other things. He's been away from the game for a while, and he is Tiger Woods, but if anybody is away from the game for that amount of time to win 5 more majors, because that's what he would have to do to break Jack's record, that's an insurmountable feat. I just think even for him, I think that if he was totally healthy, like when he was in his 30s, in his heyday, or then I think he could do it, because mentally he's as strong as Jack was. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he's just an amazing player, and I wish for sure that he would come back. I mean, he is the best thing that ever happened to golf. There's no doubt about it.
You can say that again, and I honestly think that he's not done. I think that he has another run in him. I think he looks as healthy as he ever has. Granted, the mug shot and all of the stuff that came out recently, he looks terrible, but what are you going to look like at 3 a.m. after the prescription medications that he had the reaction to? I get it. But I had a guest on this show earlier this year who said that if he wins one more major, he breaks the record. And I think that is the most inspiring, hopeful comment I've heard. One, he's not done, and the day that he wakes up and thinks that he can't win again is the day that he retires.
Yeah.
But if he gets one more, that'll be all it takes to just come. Because I think he could win at Augusta until he's 55. He can win at St. Andrews until he's probably 55 or older. And he's healthier than anybody on tour. He's 41, soon to be 42, and he looks like he's 28. I mean, granted, he doesn't hit the ball as far as Dustin Johnson. Does he need to? No. He doesn't play as well as Jordan Spieth but Jordan Spieth is he misses a cut as much as he wins. And Tiger was so consistent. We've not seen Tiger healthy for the last 3 or 4 years. But when the last full season that he was healthy, he won 5 times and was pretty close in 2 of those 4 majors. So if he can come back, and I'm not saying it's going to be next year, I think it's going to be next year will be a progression. And then in 2019, I honestly think that if he can figure out a way to win 1 or 2 majors in 2019, then people are going to give me a hard time about it. But I think that I'm not going to give up until he gives up. And the mental strength that he has, to your point, I think that that's what's going to be the difference between him. And, everybody says, oh, well, Jordan Spieth and Rory and Dustin aren't afraid of him anymore like they used to be. Well, I'm sorry, but on Sunday at Augusta on the back 9, if Tiger's 2 shots behind you, you're shaking a little bit because you're not going to ever be able to ignore what he has done and what he continues to do for the game of golf.
Well, he's living history. He is living history is what he is.
Absolutely. And I a little self-serving. I've got about 7 Rubbermaid containers just full of Tiger stuff spread out my house. So if he doesn't break the record, I'm going to have a bonfire or something because that stuff's not going to be worth anything if he doesn't break the record. So
yeah,
Tiger
I got some pretty cool stuff myself of Tigers too. So
that's awesome.
I got one with him and Jack, and both of them signed it. So that's pretty
no
cool.
way. That's awesome.
Yeah, side by side, and both their signatures on it. So that's pretty cool.
Now I'm jealous because I don't even have that. Now, your final question, and I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. My God, we're 15 minutes over time, and we could talk all night. But your final question of your hashtag Wednesday match play is, what's next? I mean, you got some good guests coming up. You looking to do something more with the podcast? Like, what's next for you?
Just keep on keeping on, and whatever shows up is what I'll do. But the podcast is going to keep going, and still have some great guests coming on shortly. And there's always great guests. I think they're all great guests. And I know that I want to do as much as I can here in Naples to make Impact Zone the best it can possibly be, and the greatest teaching facility. And you can't pick a better spot.
It doesn't get much better than Tiburón Golf Club. Bernard, thank you so much. It's fantastic to have you on the show. It's always great to talk with you. This episode will be on YouTube. It's going to be on Stitcher. It's going to be on SoundCloud. It's going to be on Google Play. It's going to be on iTunes. It's a part of the Golf Radio Network. Make sure you check it out. Download, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what you think of this show. We'll make sure this is shared to Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and all the good places tomorrow. As always, on the hashtag Wednesday Match Plays, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.